Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video podcast from Vetstoria. Today we'll be discussing the topic of glaucoma in pets, and we'll endeavor to answer the following questions. What is glaucoma? What causes glaucoma? How is this condition diagnosed? And finally, what are the treatment options for this disease? There are various forms of glaucoma that can affect our pets, and the most common forms in pets are not exactly the same as the human form of the disease. However, just like in people, glaucoma in pets result in an increased pressure inside the affected eye. To understand how this works, we must first look at the function and pressure in a normal eye. The eyeball is a fibrous structure that maintains its spherical shape by a very well-controlled mechanism of fluid production and circulation inside the eye. In order to maintain a steady pressure and normal shape, the fluid produced inside the eye must also drain out of the eye at exactly the same rate at which it's produced. Let's look at a diagram of how and where this happens. We are now looking at a cross-section of the eye. The fluid, or aqueous humor as it is known, is produced by a structure inside the eye called the ciliary body. From here, it circulates through the pupil into the front part of the eye and then drains into a specialized network of openings located near where the transparent front of the eye, or cornea, meets the white of the eye, or sclera. For the eye to function normally, the rate at which the fluid is produced must be matched by the rate at which fluid drains out of the eye. Think of this like a tap that is dripping water into a basin at the same rate at which water is draining out of the plug. If the plug gets blocked up, more water will come into the basin than water draining out. Eventually, the basin overflows. Because the eye is a closed structure and not a basin, fluid cannot overflow, and as a result, pressure builds up. It is this rise in pressure that is responsible for the pain experienced by animals and people with glaucoma. If we don't treat the problem at this stage, the pressure will become very high and eventually cause the eye to stretch and to enlarge. There are many causes for glaucoma, but they all result in decreased drainage of fluid from the eye. We never get excessive production of fluid in the eye. Some dogs are genetically predisposed to glaucoma, and they develop the disease because the structure of the eye is abnormal and it prevents proper drainage of fluid. Although they are born with this abnormal eye structure, the disease will often only become apparent in middle or older age. Breeds that can be affected by this include the American Cocker Spaniel, Chows, Basset Hounds, Shar-Peis, and Arctic breeds such as the Husky. In most other animals, glaucoma develops as a result of some other disease or problem in the eye. This can be infection or inflammation, or the lens may become loose inside the eye. Again, all of this will stop fluid draining properly from the eye and cause the pressure to go up. There are various clinical signs that may indicate that your dog has glaucoma. Firstly, the eye will be painful, and the dog may rub the eye with his paw or rub it along the ground, and he'll resent being touched around the head. The eye will also become quite red and inflamed, and the transparent front part of the eye, or cornea, will become cloudy. It's important to note that there are other diseases that can also cause these clinical signs. It is therefore very important to take your dog to a vet as soon as possible so that they can measure the pressure inside the eye to determine if it is glaucoma or not. Not all vets will have the specialized equipment to accurately do this, but they will be able to refer you to a specialist if indicated. Either way, a red painful eye needs to be treated. It's important to seek treatment from your vet immediately if you suspect that your pet may have glaucoma, because it can very quickly lead to blindness if it's not treated. Now, let's have a look at the various treatment options. There are various drugs and surgical treatment options to try and control glaucoma. Some drugs work by reducing the amount of fluid produced by the eye, which then reduces the buildup of pressure inside the eye. Other drugs help to increase the outflow of fluid from the eye, which again reduces the buildup of pressure in the eye. In some cases, surgery may be an option as well. It is worth noting that in some cases, medical treatment will not control the pressure buildup, and the removal of the eye may be the only way to prevent the pet from being in constant pain. That concludes today's video podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember to check out vetstoria.com for further podcasts, and please feel free to leave any comments or suggestions for future topics. Goodbye.